Who was the most terrifying pirate in history? So imagine this: the most successful and terrifying pirate in history was a woman. Yes, you heard that right. It was Ching Shih, a woman who turned piracy into a true art form. Ching Shih started her life as a Chinese courtesan, living a modest life in various brothels. But one fine day, her fate changed dramatically when the commander of the Red Flag Fleet decided to buy her and marry her. But hold on to your hats. Instead of just hiding her away in the depths of his cabin, this guy decided that she could very well command his fleet across the seas. Thus, Ching Shih became an active commander of the pirate fleet. Her husband didn't just see her as a wife, he considered her his equal. And let me tell you, Ching Shih quickly proved that she deserved respect. She became the fleet's captain after her husband's death. Now that's determination. Under her command, the Red Flag Fleet transformed into a true maritime monster. More than 300 warships, 1,200 auxiliary vessels, and up to 80,000 men on board. These pirates were a true nightmare for merchant and military ships in the waters around China. Ching Shih and her crew conducted large-scale attacks on trading vessels, filling the seas with fear and anxiety. They captured ships, plundered their cargo, and sometimes even demanded ransom for the release of prisoners. Thanks to their massive fleet, they could organize multiple attacks in different parts of the seas simultaneously, avoiding pursuit and enhancing their fearsome reputation. But that's not all. Ching Shih and her crew also controlled trade in certain territories, levying taxes on passing ships or even providing protection in exchange for a fee. This was a form of pirate taxation that provided them with additional resources to strengthen their influence. Sometimes, they even blockaded ports, forcing governments to comply with their demands. The Red Flag Fleet was so powerful and influential that it even impacted the foreign policy and diplomacy of some countries. They terrorized the waters around China to such an extent that the government eventually decided to make a deal and simply pardon Ching Shih and her fleet. Yes, the once powerful government had to plead with the pirates. Please leave our waters! If Ching Shih were alive today, what would she do? Perhaps she would start her own international shipping company? Or maybe lead a modern pirate fleet, Amazonka, or a pirate AliExpress. Who knows, in this world, anything is possible.
Ghost ship. In 1948, in the mysterious depths of the seas, one of the most enigmatic and terrifying stories related to maritime mystery unfolded, the story of the ghost ship Aurang Medan. This story, full of mysticism and horror, remains one of the most unsolved and astonishing maritime mysteries in the world to this day. It all began when strange signals in the form of messages transmitted using Morse code started coming from the deck of the Dutch ship Aurang Medan. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in the chart room and on the bridge. Probably the whole crew is dead, was the first distressing message, which caused alarm and indescribable horror. But that's not all. The next message received was even more horrifying. I die. These words, carrying a sinister prophetic tone, made the hearts of those who heard them race and their blood run cold. When a rescue mission was organized and the Aurang Medan was found, the rescue crew discovered that the messages were, unfortunately, true. The entire crew lay dead, and their bodies were found in the strangest positions, as if they had been trying to fend off an unknown threat. However, the most astonishing aspect of this tragedy was the absence of visible injuries on the bodies of the deceased. There were no signs of a struggle, nor any trace of a killer. This raised more questions and mysteries than answers. To this day, it remains unknown what exactly led to the death of the entire crew of this ill-fated ship and how they managed to send their strange message, which remains one of the most enigmatic maritime mysteries.
Is the Leaning Tower of Pisa falling? Now, we are going to embark on an exciting journey into the past to learn about one of the most famous and unusual structures in the world, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Yes, that's right. the very inclined architectural masterpiece that has become a symbol not only of the city of Pisa in Italy but of the entire country. Imagine this: a sunny day, blue skies, and before you stands the majestic Leaning Tower of Pisa, seemingly playing hide and seek with the laws of physics, leaning but not falling. And you've surely wondered why it leans like that. Old age? Natural storms? No, dear friends, the answer is far more fascinating. So, let's start from the beginning. In the distant 13th century, when master architects began the construction of this magnificent structure, they naturally wanted the tower to be as straight as an arrow. But, as often happens in life, something went off course. So, what was the mystery? Listen carefully. It turns out the issue was with the foundation. Yes, that's where the reason for the tilt lay hidden. During construction, a mistake was made, and the foundation was laid on unstable, sloping ground. But what did the wise builders do when they discovered this unpleasant feature? They could have dismantled everything and started over, but instead, they decided to be clever and continue building as if nothing had happened. So why did they do this? Because the times were tough, and starting over would have been too expensive and labor-intensive. Instead, they devised Plan B, just to continue building the tower from the point where they had stopped. They probably thought no one would notice. But as you can see, they were greatly mistaken. Thus, there it is, the mystery of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It tilted not because of natural catastrophes or time, but because its foundation was laid on uneven ground. Although the Leaning Tower of Pisa looks like it's about to topple over under the force of gravity, in reality, it is quite sturdy and stable. Preservation experts and engineers carefully monitor the tower's condition and take measures to ensure its preservation. So, can we assume that the Leaning Tower of Pisa will ever fall? Scientifically speaking, anything is possible, but the chances of this happening are extremely low. Engineers conduct regular inspections and reinforcement works to prevent further leaning and maintain the stability of the structure. Moreover, modern technologies allow for monitoring and stabilizing the tower's lean. For example, in the 1990s, efforts were made to reduce the tower's tilt angle by 44 centimeters to decrease the risk of its collapse. These efforts have increased the safety of visiting the tower and prolonged its service life. Thus, while we cannot be 100% certain about the future of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, we can confidently say that modern science and technology are doing everything possible to preserve this historical monument for many years to come. So don't worry, friends, when you pose next to the Leaning Beauty, she remains in safe hands and will greet you with her graceful lean for many, many years to come.
Ancient Internet of Ancient Athens. In ancient times, when smartphones and laptops were still the stuff of science fiction, people found other ways to exchange information and spend time in a network. So, imagine this: Athens, an ancient city teeming with intellect and ideas. During this time, long before the advent of the modern internet, a genuine Athenian version of an online community was created. Yes, you heard that right. The ancient Athenians brought their ideas to life in the form of the internet, only without laptops and Wi-Fi. In one of these ancient internets, at the very heart of ancient Athens, a unique network thrived. This ancient internet, known as the agora, was not just a marketplace and a site for political gatherings, but a true hub of idea exchange. The agora was like Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter all rolled into one, only without selfies and cat videos. Imagine yourself standing on the marble steps of an ancient temple, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of Athenian streets. You reach out to grab a cup of local wine when suddenly your friend Socrates approaches and says, "Hey, man, have you heard the latest news about what's happening on the Acropolis?" There it is, the ancient version of a real-time chat. The agora was the place where people gathered to discuss the latest events, share gossip, exchange news, and even engage in political intrigue. It was an ancient forum where ideas and information flowed freely, much like today's memes on social media. Imagine you are strolling through the ancient agora, passing by philosophers, activists, and vendors shouting about their goods. You notice a group of people gathered around a man standing on a high stone, waving his hands like a DJ at a party. "Listen to me, Athenians," he exclaims. "I have the hottest news about the latest scandals among politicians, the freshest gossip about noble figures, and even a few jokes about the bigwigs of the Acropolis." This man is an ancient Greek blogger. He knows that to capture attention, he needs to offer something special. And there he is, mixing information with humor and lively interaction, creating his own content that quickly spreads among the crowd. There are also other subnetworks within this ancient network, groups of people gathering around street musicians and actors who perform their plays and melodies to lift spirits and share their creativity. But, as with any network, there are also its shadowy sides. For instance, the trolls, people who deliberately stir up disputes and create conflicts within the community. Or the hackers, who might interrupt your conversation with clever remarks or even outright steal your idea. This was an ancient forum where ideas and information circulated freely, much like today's memes on social media. Here you have it, the ancient internet, without gadgets, but with heated debates and the free exchange of opinions. The agora is proof that the thirst for communication and the exchange of ideas is nothing new, and that throughout human history, we find many inspiring examples of how people found ways to connect and share their thoughts, even in times when Facebook wasn't even a dream in Mark Zuckerberg's mind. The richest person in history. Augustus Caesar was the richest person to have ever lived in history. When we talk about Augustus, we remember not only his political legacy as the first emperor of Rome but also his financial power, which is impressive even today. Born as Gaius Julius Octavian, he became the heir and grandnephew of Julius Caesar after his assassination in the 44th year before Christ. From that moment, he began building his political and economic career, becoming one of the most influential people of his time. Besides his political influence, Augustus was also known for his enormous wealth. Modern estimates of his net worth put it at an astonishing $46 trillion when adjusted for inflation. This makes him one of the wealthiest individuals in human history. However, as with many historical estimates of wealth, there is some degree of uncertainty. It is difficult to precisely determine the value of assets and capital from those times, and exact figures can vary depending on the methods of calculation and sources of data. Nevertheless, even the most modest estimate underscores the grandeur of Augustus's financial achievement. His wealth was secured through various sources of income, including land holdings, taxes from the provinces of the Roman Empire, and inheritance from Julius Caesar. Augustus also demonstrated financial acumen and skill in managing his finances, which allowed him to amass such an impressive fortune. Thus, Augustus Caesar remains one of the most influential and wealthy leaders in history, whose legacy continues to inspire and astonish us to this day.
And that's all. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward for us. Thank you for watching. See you soon.